You're listening to Two Chunks in a Hunk, a movie podcast where we give pumps and dumps.
My name is Jordan Wonders, and I am your chunk for the week.
I'm Doge, and I'm your other chunk.
And if you're listening right now going, hey, where's David's voice? What that means is you didn't listen to the announcement episode we put out last week.
You messed up.
Shame on you.
We worked really hard on that episode.
We did work really hard.
It was
a
probably
full
the most
8
difficult
minutes
one we've ever done.
It was funny.
It was. It's the
more
best
than
one
you can
we've
say
ever
for
done.
a lot of other
I think it's the
episodes,
best one we've done,
which is really great. But thankfully, we have been blessed to already have a guest hunk to fill in David's absence. That guest hunk is Carter Willis. Carter, why don't you say hello to everybody?
Hello to everybody. I super pumped cinema. I have been up all night trying to think of what is one of the first things that I'll say on here, as if people are going to go back into the annals of Two Chunks and a Hunk and be like, I'd be interested to know. Like,
Where did
trivia?
Where did everybody start?
Where did he start? And he said, hey to everybody. And he super pumped cinema. And I think it was a great start. And I think it really encompassed everything he meant to that group. No, I am super excited about this. I super pumped the opportunity to be here to be the guest hunk. I think it's hilarious how we have dropped video at the same time I've come on.
Sure.
And but it's probably best so that people don't recognize me even more.
Yeah,
we'll talk more about why
now
I'm
that we're
famous already,
audio.
but yeah.
Now that we're audio only, we could look like anything you want us to look like, which is the greatest strength of the medium. I think.
Sounds great.
If you're at home and you want to get out a pen and paper, Carter Willis is actually an anagram for George Clooney. So that's our big cover up.
Yes, that's it. And it's good because I didn't want to have to go through all the surgery. It's very expensive to try and look anything close to what Bleece looked like. Sure. And so, and there were different opportunities too. I didn't know if I needed to go into like the clergy and be a monk instead of a hunk. Sure. But it was much easier just to like kick an old person and be a punk. And I was like, I could do this.
You did basketball for a while. You were trying to be Two Chunks in a dunk.
Yeah, I could dunk it. And then just donuts was easier. After I did this, I was like, I could have just had breakfast.
You could just dunk some donuts.
But,
or you slept like stacked on top of another person, Two Chunks in a bunk.
Yeah.
It could have been that.
That was an option. I remember for a while you were talking about driving an old car and you were just going to be Two Chunks in a clunk.
I like the clunk. Yeah. I like the clunk for sure.
You were just going to dance the whole time. It could have been Two Chunks in a crunk, but we ended up not going with that.
I believe you tossed out at first. I think the first one was you were just going to be really like peppy all the time. You're going to be Two Chunks in a spunk.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, or if I have enough refried black beans, I'm kind of skunky too. I could do that. I could throw that off.
Yeah. And you can just put it in the back of your car, Two Chunks in a trunk.
Yep.
Maybe a little bit of a Two Chunks in a funk going on there. We're trying to smell that.
That was quick.
Yeah. Something I usually find when I eat enough corn is there's 2 chunks in my junk.
And every mom who's ever listened just turned off the podcast. This is the first week of our 4-week series, Two Chunks Summer of Love. And we are so excited to bring to you our really just thoughts and discussions about romance and what love really is. And I can't think of a better starting place than this movie, which is, of course, Crazy Stupid Love.
And don't be alarmed, but over the next 4 weeks, Jordan and I are going to be going on dates with Carter. Every week we'll be recording with Carter.
Swiping left.
Just how is left
started.
the good one?
I don't remember. I've never
Which is the good one? We're going to be swiping the good way.
We're going to be swiping the good swipe.
Having some good swipes.
Have just the best swipes of all time.
Good swipes, good friends.
Good swipes, good friends,
God, let's
can't
eat.
lose.
But we're going to be figuring out if Carter is our podcast soulmate.
Mm-hmm.
And
no pressure.
I can't think of any better love story to base this off of than anything Ryan Gosling's ever touched in his whole life.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Yes.
So without further ado, it brings me great pleasure. Doge Synops.
So Two Chunks in... No, this movie's not called Two Chunks in a Hunk.
Crazy stupid chunk.
It's a chunk of...
It's chunky love.
Crazy chunky love. That's the new fried chicken bowl at KFC.
Crazy chunky love.
Come on in for the crazy chunky love.
I hate it so much.
Get yourself a hot steaming bowl of crazy chunky love.
I'm very uncomfortable.
So, Crazy Stupid Love tells the story of really kind of three couples who are trying to find love. Three couples and
love and crazy, and
love
also
and crazy,
stupid.
and also stupid, and
A stupid way
also
to find it, yeah.
old Kev Bake is in this one as well.
Gosh.
So
David.
it tells the story of Cal. He is played by Steve Carell. He is in his late 40s, mid 40s, mid 40s.
Yeah, I think the synopsis was like middle-aged.
Middle-aged
could be
Cal.
So like 30.
Could be 30, could be like 27 or something gross like that.
Yeah.
Middle-aged Cal's wife surprises him by asking for a divorce. And so this movie is really, at its core, the story of Cal trying to reclaim Emily's affections and kind of reclaim his family again. He's helped along the way by Jacob, played by Ryan Gosling, who teaches him how to pick up women at bars and ultimately... honestly, is my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that later.
I wanted to take this class, whatever this was. Just take me, Jacob.
Yep.
But so ultimately, Jacob's teaching does not prove to be fruitful for Cal. Cal realizes that love is not infatuation. Love is not game, but it's a deep friendship, and that's what he has with Emily.
Yep.
In the middle of all of that, there is Jacob also finds love with Emma Stone's character, whose name is Hannah.
Nana.
Whose name is Nana, who has an interesting relationship to Cal.
Will it be?
And then there's some
Handmade.
super boring stuff about Cal's 13-year-old son and his 17-year-old babysitter that I don't care for and wish wasn't in this movie.
Yeah, later.
Anyway,
Hey, this is not time for editorial.
that's Crazy Stupid Love.
Yeah, it is. So let's start talking about
That was
it.
a crazy stupid synopsis.
Look, I think right off the bat, it's fair to say that the opening of this movie makes me giggle so hard every single
you
time.
talking about the shoes?
The shoes?
The shoes are so
and
great.
the creme brulee divorce same time scene.
Yeah, I
Gosh.
think so.
Is
And
so wonderful.
some of my first notes were it kind of had a classic feel to it. It was
Yes.
like
Yeah.
this timeless, oh, that's creative. I don't think I've seen this before. And I think that's kind of the theme of this movie as a rom-com in general.
Yes.
Is we haven't seen this kind of thing. And I know a lot of the times too, there's these preconceived notions, probably especially for men, that rom-com, or you hear like Summer of Love, we're going to do all this stuff. You think like Hallmark TV,
Yeah.
made for TV, like, oh, the chick from Glee and the guy from Gossip Girl, it's about the rodeo. Like,
Yeah.
that's, like it's not
Yeah.
that at all. And a really interesting thing, 5 of the actors in this movie have been nominated for an Oscar.
Yes.
And
3-1.
that's crazy. 3-1.
Yeah.
All the women have, well, Marissa Tomei,
Emma
who has
Stone.
like a small one. Yeah. And then Julianne Moore
Yeah.
have all won Oscars. And so that's something,
Which is
that-
insane.
yeah, feels a little different from the start.
And
I
it
do
really is
feel-
the cast.
I do
Yeah.
feel like Julianne Moore was kind of a weird choice for Emily, though.
See, I don't.
I feel like there was some material that maybe, I'm not going to say that she didn't do a great job at, because it's Julianne Moore and she's phenomenal. But I feel like there was some comedic beats that I don't feel like she's super nailed. She seemed like a weird
Really?
choice to me. Yeah.
Interesting.
I guess in other comedy that she's, I mean, because like Big Lebowski and things like that, she's pretty eclectic.
Yeah.
Like she's just funny because she's so different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess, yeah, I can see that to an extent. I don't completely agree, but hey, we're off to a good start. I already don't agree.
While we're talking about the opening of this movie,
Yeah,
I just think, I really think that the first like probably 15 minutes of this movie is some of the like.
Lady Bird.
I actually haven't seen Lady Bird. It is
Dude. First of all, watch Lady Bird.
Yeah, for sure.
the first 15 minutes of this movie is like flawlessly gut wrenching in my
Yeah,
opinion. Like,
I agree.
Yeah.
Like Cal's whole thing, like just Steve Carell's acting is just a huge pump for me in this
Yeah.
opening. Like, he's
Seriously.
amazing. And then even just the delivery of the line, like when he's at work and he's like crying at his desk and his boss comes in and is like, thank God, we thought it was cancer. It's just a
Yeah.
divorce.
He goes, yep, just my family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and his reading of the line, I have to go shop for furniture now, is so heartbreaking.
Seriously.
But also like weirdly funny.
Yeah.
Well, and I would say that this is, for me, this is Steve Carell at like maybe career most charming.
Yes.
I don't know what it is about this movie, but he eats up every scene that he's in. Even with Ryan Gosling, he stands his own like in a really cool way. Which,
Yeah.
if you're going to stand on screen with Ryan Gosling, you better bring your A game. 'cause-
Right.
Oh my
And I can
gosh.
agree with that
man.
too. And there was something that kind of felt natural about it.
Yeah.
Like, I think there is an attractiveness to Carell, like
Sure.
doing it, like outside of being funny.
Sure.
I mean, you can talk about like the Swiss Army knife that is Gosling. It's like, oh, he's
Yeah.
also
He
funny.
can do anything,
It's like
yeah.
what you're doing with this movie. But yeah, especially with Carell and the point to where we'll get to it towards the end, to where now he is suave.
Yeah.
It just felt way more natural than
It
like,
did.
okay, he's not acting anymore. This
And
is probably what he would do in a bar.
Yeah.
For me, it was the student teacher conference. That's skipping ahead a little bit. We'll jump right back, but it was the student
Right.
teacher conference where he's Emily comes in and she says, "You look really good," and I was like, "He just looks like Steve Carell to me now." Like it feels like we finally
he's like walking the red carpet at an office premiere or something.
Yeah. But no, I think that's a perfect point. And I think also those first 15 kind of heartbreaking, gut-wrenching, really soulful minutes are what sets up the rest of this movie for success.
Yeah.
This is a not necessarily a premise, but a structure that we have seen before. Movies that like to take multiple storylines and collide them at some point. But and because of that, in my opinion, this movie really risked a lot by doing that. Yeah. Because it could have been A, written off like all the rest, but B, could have really tanked. And I think the fact that they stuck with it and did it well is what made this movie work.
It did. I think there are parts of it that succeed in spite of itself. And I we'll get to that when we get to the resolutions all at the end in the backyard and everything. But just going kind of chronologically through the movie, after they ask for divorce, we meet the babysitter. I don't remember. Jess. Oh, that's my wife's name. I should remember that.
Probably Jessica.
Jessica is her name. And the son, is his name Robbie?
Yes.
Who totally looks like not Carl from The Walking Dead.
Yeah, he does. Like Carl from
Let's get that same like horrible beetle haircut. We're introduced to their kind of storyline, and I'm going to go on record right now and say that I do not really care for their whole storyline.
Can I do something crazy?
Yeah.
The Robbie and Jessica romance side plot is my super dump.
The Robbie and Jessica romance side plot is my super dump as well. Yeah.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. Tell me why.
For me, it felt, I don't want to say out of place, because I love, one of my favorite parts is actually the fact that Robbie has somebody that he loves who he loses hope in. That's one of my favorite things. So it's not that. For me, it was just that, like, it has a general creepy vibe that I actually don't really care for.
Sure does.
Culminating in this moment towards the end of the movie where Jessica's mom decides that it's okay to show her father the pictures that she took.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. As if that's, you have to have proof. Like, just take her word.
There was just a lot going on.
Yeah.
And to me, I think the reason it has to be my super dump, I think all of the weakest aspects of Crazy Stupid Love belong to that storyline.
They sure do. And I was thinking too, so the overall, kind of skipping super ahead, just the thematic statement of this movie is that love is not infatuation. Love is not game at a bar. Love is not like going and picking up women.
It's a choice.
Love is a deep friendship. Created out of shared life experiences. Yeah. And what Robbie has with Jessica is infatuation.
Sure.
It's not a deep friendship. Like she's literally his babysitter. What if instead Robbie was like a high school senior? Because then I also buy the age difference between him and Hannah. Yeah. Like they had Hannah at 17 and then maybe in their early 20s they had Robbie, or even at 27 they had Robbie, and he's 10 years younger than Hannah. He's 18 years old.
Yeah.
Graduating high school. He has a crush on a girl that he's grown up with his whole life. He's known her forever. She's not into him. And he continually pursues her, because then we can literally put the theme in his mouth of, Dad, love is not just infatuation. I love Jessica, who in this case is his same age. I love Jessica because I've known her forever and we have so much shared life experience.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was going to say at first when y'all said that, I was going to ask, so was there a better way to pull off a scene that I loved at the graduation?
Yes.
To where, Cal stands up and essentially uses Robbie as, here's the example.
Yeah.
And then this is the final, this is what gets him back with his wife.
Sure.
So I guess there still would have been a way to do that. You're still putting that in Robbie's hands when you say, let's just make him older.
Sure. Yeah.
So is the main issue for y'all that it's the age difference and it's just way too...
It's not the idea of a young boy having a crush on an older girl that bothers me, because that happened all the time when you're 13 years old or whatever. Right. That's not the issue. For me, it's just like there's this vaguely creepy vibe around like her decisions at the end of the movie to like let him keep the photos that she took, and there's just a lot of things. That is creepy. There's just a lot of things about it that I was just like, what a weird kind of dark spot in a really fun movie.
Because this is an American Pie. This wasn't
exactly.
It doesn't belong.
And it was a very American Pie decision to make storyline wise.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, don't get me wrong. We'll get to it. But one of my favorite things about this movie is subverting genre by making the big speech happen at an 8th grade graduation. Right. Love it so much. But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
What I do want to talk about in pretty vivid detail is Jacob and Cal's relationship, because it starts here, and I would like to follow that as a thread. Mm-hmm. Just to talk about
before we do that though, because you did mention Lady Bird.
Yes.
I sat there and one of the notes I took was, Steve Carell did it first.
Yeah.
He just jumps out of a car.
Yeah.
And that's the big shocker. But I remember with Lady Bird too, like seeing
the sequel to Lady Bird?
Lady Bird, yeah.
Lady, Two Birds.
And it's also the prequel to La La Land. We'll get into that.
Oh my goodness.
We'll get into that.
Is La La Land just Lady Bird 3?
Like it's you haven't left
Laid Three Bird.
Now it's not Marvel Cinematic Universe anymore. It's just the Love Cinematic Universe.
The Searchiverse.
Everything is connected.
Searchiverse.
But yeah, it was just that was a thing that I didn't want to just blow over. But I thought that was funny because a lot of people that had seen Lady Bird and kind of drank that juice, which it was a good movie, was just like, can you believe? And it's like, oh,
they did it already.
They did this already
7 years ago.
And not only did they do it already, but they was Steve Carell.
Right, exactly. And then one more thing too, with you talk about the like intersecting stories and stuff. What's so fun, a little fun fact, is I think it's either the writers or producers of this are the This Is Us people.
Are they really?
And that is their game.
Yeah,
right? That's what they've been doing for like the 2 and 3 seasons now. And I love that show too. But this is like their wheelhouse, it seems like, to just let's bring all these things together.
Interesting.
And show and you have so many different things now too. So maybe that's why now we've got let's try and hit everybody. Yeah. But really, are you going to appeal to 13-year-olds to see this?
Yeah,
movie?
exactly. Sure. They're not the audience.
Yeah.
Well, but the other thing is that they're clearly very skilled, because to me, even with Robbie and Jessica, there were moments that were very mature. Like, I think Robbie's a great character.
Right.
And
my gosh, he just annoyed me this movie.
Really?
And I don't know why.
It doesn't bother me.
Did.
I actually really like him. But I think that every storyline, every relationship that we follow in this movie has its merits and has some really great moments.
Yeah, I do. So it's interesting because we spend so much time with Robbie and Jessica, and we get the introduction of Jessica's parents, and there's just so much wasted time in the script on that.
Her dad is wonderful. I love her dad.
The Zodiac Killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We don't really get to spend time. I don't feel like we spend time with Hannah and Jacob.
I realized there was a point when I was like, wait a minute. Outside of the initial like Jacob hitting on Hannah, when does Emma Stone get back into the movie?
No, we don't. We literally don't see them together. They have
is crazy.
That one the night that goes down PG-13, like she says it won't, and then we see them for about 40 seconds in a liquor store,
right,
and then in the backyard, and then at the graduation. But we don't ever see them interacting together.
And so for me, I was thinking like, is this just because here's where she is now in 2018?
Sure.
And I was like, why didn't they use her so much? Or she just wasn't at that point yet. But she had done Easy A already, right? And she had done Zombieland.
Everything she did in this was great.
Yeah.
Right.
So she just didn't have enough to do.
Well, and I think that ultimately something that I realized upon, I mean, this is probably my 5th time watching this movie.
Yeah.
Something that I realized watching this again was that this movie is not about Cal and Jacob, but it is told through the lens of Cal and Jacob. They're both used to show every other relationship.
Yeah, and I would ask y'all, who do you think had better on-screen chemistry? Cal, like Gosling and Carell, or Gosling and Stone?
Who doesn't Gosling have chemistry with?
Right?
Yeah,
he is a chemistry like factory.
There was something about these guys too, but it was not above or below like a Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis kind of thing, because that wasn't really Cal's character.
Sure.
But the two of them was just I would love to see more of that. I'm glad.
Agreed.
I feel like the writers of La La Land kind of started that whole thing in terms of casting and being like, well, they need more time together.
Yeah.
Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling. Let's just do this. But
completely.
I loved everything they did together. And it felt like half of it or more was ad lib.
Seriously.
And they're just both really charming and funny.
So let's actually talk about that. That's a great segue into Jacob and Cal's relationship. This is one of the stranger, weirder, most heartwarming movie relationships to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Like Cal can gain nothing from Jacob. Sorry, let's reverse that. Jacob can gain nothing from Cal.
Yeah.
Is what I meant to say. And I think that is our first glimpse that he is more than the womanizer that he says he is.
Right.
Yeah.
We find out later that I think he sees his own father in Cal.
And that helps it make believable
the
relationship that he has with Cal.
And that I love in that one moment that we go, oh, well, that's why he wanted to help this man find out who he is, and whether or not he did that right is, whatever.
Yeah.
But the effort is what matters. And so we have this sad, downtrodden Cal being approached by Jacob, and Jacob says, nobody wants to hear your sad story. You're bumming everybody out. Listen, man, I'm going to help you. I'm going to pretty woman you. I'm going to make you into the man that's inside those Old Navy Gap clothes.
Yeah.
Can I just go ahead and throw out my super pump is Ryan Gosling in this movie. My super pump is Jacob. I don't feel like Ryan Gosling can do anything wrong.
True.
And just give it to him, because it's a legitimate one, especially when it's like a podcast about movies with 3 dudes.
Yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
saying the same thing. He's just appealing to everybody.
Where's my Goosepack at? You know what I'm saying? Thanks.
Is that how geese
I
sound?
don't know. I was going to do it, and I just really feel like it's going to sound like a raptor from Jurassic Park. If I try, it's like, oh.
Yep.
Sorry.
They do move in herds.
I love it.
Shoot her, but no, kiss her.
Ryan Gosling,
Yeah.
charming, funny, musical, good actor. Like,
Yeah. And
Hot.
these
You
things
left
keep
out
coming
hot.
out.
hot
That's
for
super
sure.
important.
I feel like with his agent or his marketing, things just keep coming out like every 3 or 4 years that make him cooler that have just been facts forever. It's like, oh, he was in the Mickey Mouse Club. Oh, he would have been in sync, but they had already filled it up with like JT or they put Lance in there or something like that. But like these are legitimate things.
Yeah.
And somehow
Wait,
it's
really?
just
Yes.
Like if they had what would it have been 6?
yeah.
Yeah.
If they would have had 6, it was Gosling.
It was Gosling.
Like,
Are
he would
you
have been,
serious?
Apparently, him and JT have like spent every Thanksgiving together since they were kids. They're like
Absolutely.
that close.
Yeah.
What?
I'm telling you, dude, this guy is
He's musically inclined because I believe that's him playing piano in La La Land.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
it
is
is,
him in
which
La La
is
Land.
crazy because
Yeah.
I don't know if he was at that level, but he was like
He learned. John
his
Legend
acting
said
chops
that
mixed
it-
up with
yeah.
his music chops. And we're like, yeah, let me
What
just do
on
this.
earth?
Yeah.
But-
So, anyways,
one of the things obviously that makes Cal and Jacob's relationship so wonderful is Ryan Gosling and Steve
Yeah.
Carell,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
actors.
yeah, I think so.
But I want to give a nod to the writing here. They had
Yeah,
so many
Absolutely.
times that they could have gone really cheap with this.
Yeah.
And that they could have made Jacob look at Cal and go, "You're schlumpy. You got to get better. You got to."
Right,
And
right,
instead,
right.
he just said, you know, I love when he's like, "You're at an age where you can remake your whole wardrobe with 16 items. Let's walk you through it. Let's
Yeah.
get you some confidence." This whole thing, and
It felt like legitimate advice.
It did.
Yeah.
I was like taking notes on some of that stuff, and I'm married. I
was like,
it's
sorry,
how can I treat my wife better?
I literally
What was the
spent
jackets?
the entire pretty womanizing of Steve Carell. That sounds like the name of a horror movie.
My fair
the pretty
Carell.
womanizing of Steve Carell.
he's just like Richard Gere.
But I spent the entirety of that sequence Googling Ryan Gosling Crazy Stupid Love Jacket. And I was like, crap, didn't find it.
I know.
Ryan Gosling Crazy Stupid Love Jacket,
Right,
mall.
and-
Didn't find it. Ryan Gosling Crazy Stupid Love Jacket, Navy mall suit. Found it.
I was looking at Ryan Gosling, Crazy Stupid Love body transplant and trying to see if I could get that.
But the like setting the stage too for how suave he was the very first time we see him, which was great that we see his feet first too, like we
Yes.
saw
Yeah.
the beginning
Ooh, good
of
call.
Julianne Moore and Carell. But like to see him, he was wearing like a maroon suit.
Yeah.
Yes, I noticed
Which,
that.
unless you're like an Aggie alum at an alumni event, no one else does that.
No one
Yes.
can.
Right? And it's so crazy. And my first pump, are we ready?
Yeah.
Oh, my first pump, not super pump, but pump. I love that relationship, but you talked about the writing.
Yes.
They did such a good job too, because everyone's kind of thinking this happened fast.
Yeah.
Like he's wondering why he took him in. They do address it again later, but at the mall, like the outlet mall type thing before he throws his shoes, which was
is
also
so
super,
good.
which was, and then you hear not like a cat or anything, but it's like people are like, ah, like
Yeah.
they just kind of add that later. But Carell spends maybe just 4 seconds. Cal just kind of stands there and almost is like, what am I doing? Like, I think he's even talking to himself.
Yeah.
And is like, this is ridiculous. But I think we see from the start too, they did a great job setting up his character. He has already jumped out of a car within minutes of finding out he's divorced. Like he is just broken.
Yeah.
Like completely broken. And it's to the point too, and we'll get into their relationship more. It's to the point too, to where he is completely oblivious to the fact that Julianne Moore still loves him.
Yeah.
Like I can see that throughout the movie.
Sure.
She's trying to get out of him, but he's so depressed, like staring off into the distance, that he doesn't give her the time of day.
Sure. Yeah.
But the writing for that whole thing was so good.
Oh, and you can't have one without the other, but thankfully in this movie, it was truly both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to, before we move on, I just want to give a quick nod to both Velcro wallet scenes. The second that Steve Carell cracks that Velcro wallet they don't even show it the first time.
Yep.
And Jacob just takes a step back. It summed up
look on his
everything you
face.
needed to know about those two characters in that one moment.
Is that a GIF? Can I find a GIF of that somewhere?
If it's not,
of
it
Jacob's
will be by the
reaction
time
to
we're
that?
done making this
Yes.
episode, I guarantee.
If you're listening to this and you are particularly GIF inclined, and I don't mean peanut butter, I do mean moving images. Can you make a GIF and please
Send it to us.
send it to us?
Let's
just
do
add
that.
us.
And I love so much in movies when you can get a whole relationship dynamic like that in a really concentrated drop, where it's just like, that is so good. And I love finding those moments. But
So I want to jump just as the movie does real quick and touch on what Emma Stone is doing at this point in the movie. Hannah is with her
Josh Groban.
Yeah, dude, it's Josh Groban.
Yep. Guys,
it's so good.
It is good. And this was technically his like feature film debut.
What?
But when I was going back and back and back. So did you know that his cinema career started before his music career?
What?
His first album came out in 1998, which is when he got with David Fincher, who did like Celine Dion and stuff, right? And I'm starting to notice he doesn't age very much. Like Josh Groban, how old can he be now? Like
I think he's drinking concentrated doses of Keanu Reeves sweat.
Yes.
Yeah, it might be it.
That's amazing.
He's taking sweat
I want to
shots.
see the commercial to sell that sweat from Keanu, by the way. But in you're gonna get this from me, but I love the silly details like this. In 1997, Josh Groban was on 2 episodes of Ally McBeal.
What?
Didn't find the screenshots, but it's there. Like on IMDb, it starts with Ally McBeal in 97. And I couldn't even find him as like trash boy number 3. Like who?
He was probably just in the back like, I pick up trash.
Right? Like it's not even, they're not even rolling film. And they're like hearing him in the bathroom. Like an Elf moment. And they're like, oh my gosh. You're like, would you like to sing with Celine Dion and change your life?
Now?
Or do you want to, he's like, I don't know. I want to stay with the Ally McBeal thing. You know, it's nuts.
But I actually wish, and I've never said this before in my life. I probably will never say it again. I could have done with a little more Josh Groban in this.
We knew that was what it was going to right there.
I'm going to pull that out as a soundbite and just put it in every episode
I could have done with a little more Josh Groban.
That's your super pump from now on in every movie we ever review.
I don't know if I could because he was so...
That's what I wanted from him. I wanted a little more of that final moment we get of him where it's just like, I need some more time for me.
Oh my god.
That was he's such a jerk. Okay, it was so funny.
While we're talking about Hannah's scene with Josh Groban, her best friend sucks so much.
What?
I hate her so much. She's the worst.
But you feel like she's doing a good job of making you hate her? Or you think the character shouldn't have been there?
The character's crap. I think literally the actress. I really feel like the actress was like, hey, what's my character's name? And they were like, Sassy. And she's like, no, I mean the name. They're like, Sassy.
My man, one of my favorite parts of this movie.
Are you serious? I feel like she is so
when she turns away the older man and is like, honey.
Not even in your dreams.
Yeah,
not in your dreams. Honey, in what world?
Yeah.
And because to me, she is the audience's analog both for looking at Ryan Gosling and for looking at Hannah's relationship. And she is saying what we are saying about Ryan Gosling, going, are you kidding me?
Right.
Look at this man. But then she's looking at Josh Groban and going, are you kidding me? Look at this man.
For me too, from like a movie business standpoint, which I don't really have, I've never been in it. But like...
That's the end of your thought.
How many though? How many women you think who love this movie identify with her?
Callie loved her, dude.
Is that why she's there? And I'm not saying Callie's sassy or anything like that.
Well,
everybody got their moments. But for me, I was like, oh, that is for the girl. And listen, I love trash TV. Maybe that's why I loved it so much.
Yeah, okay.
I have just downloaded 5 seasons of Southern Charm, which is a show on Bravo from Charleston.
Even heard of it.
I've seen the commercials for that, and it makes me want to jump out of my skin.
So this makes sense. Great. We know why I love it and why you don't, and that's fine.
Can we explore why I love it? Because I'm not really figuring that out.
You love trash TV, though. Yeah,
right. Come on. Yeah.
That'll work. No, I
like a raccoon with all that TV trash.
I was actually going to pump on her, so that's very interesting. She's a pump for me.
Well, I guess we got to cancel the podcast now.
Right. It was a good start too to let you know this is the kind of humor this will be. Yes, of course, Steve Carell did great with his first scenes the whole time, and I think Julianne Moore was supposed to kind of play a straight character, but the first joke that we hear between Emma Stone and her friend really kind of set the pace for here's the kind of humor this will be with the Conan O'Brien.
Yeah.
I would totally sleep with Conan O'Brien.
Yeah.
Like, are you serious? And I thought that was great. That was a good setup.
I guess I acknowledge she has a purpose and a role in the narrative.
She's growing. That's great. Look at you. How far you've come.
She feels like she was written by people who are like, this is totally what young girls talk like.
Dad, I will agree with that.
Okay.
I'll agree with that. I still liked it though.
Okay, well, I need to keep talking until you don't like it. Okay, I feel like she was real.
So actually, somebody I do want to talk about, because this is around the time that we really start to meet him and get to know him a little better. Guys, David Lindhagen.
Oh my God.
Can we talk about Kevin Bacon?
Lindhagen. Here's what they've done too. This is such a brilliant movie because they've done so much to please everybody.
Yeah.
And anyone who has ever liked Footloose or anything like that all you have to do is Kevin Bacon, and you can say the transition between Marvel Cinematic Universe and this movie is the reference to Kevin Bacon, or that he's even there.
Yeah.
Because he's a member of the Avengers, right?
Earth's
That's what we
greatest
learned
hero.
from Infinity War.
It's the Baconverse.
Yeah, it could be him. But yeah, just to have him in here. And you know what? He was less douchey than Groban. Dude. Way less.
That was my thing.
Yeah, he was.
I loved that. See, but I don't think he did. I mean, what he did was wrong. So something that was very interesting to me about this movie that I want to get into now that we're kind of in the meat of the movie.
Yeah.
It operated in a lot of very interesting moral gray area, specifically with the idea of adultery. And something that it did was it didn't glorify adultery. In fact, it showed us the harm that it caused. But it also made a very interesting point to show us David Lindhagen was not a bad man.
Yeah.
He was a good dude who genuinely cared, and Emily was the one who had a moment of weakness, and Lindhagen should have known better, of course.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it did a good job of showing no one person is at fault and no one person is fully innocent.
Yeah.
But also no one person is fully bad. And I think it would have been really easy to demonize.
I was
David
just thinking
Lindhagen.
that as I was watching that last night. Like it would have been very easy to go, hey, Cal, you just stopped trying. That's why Emily cheated on you. But the movie doesn't do that. The movie does. And I think, again, that speaks to the statement of theme that, like, because love is a deep-seated friendship, it's not 50-50, it's 100-100. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, it takes two people both trying to make love work.
I think this is a good time for my super dump.
Okay.
And so my super dump was, I mean, in talking about the relationship between like Robbie and Jess, kind of how creepy that was, just give me 5 more minutes of a little bit of David Lindhagen. Okay. Because that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because I don't hate him.
Yeah.
And because he did the exact same thing that Julianne Moore, Emily, he did the exact same thing that Emily did. They both had an affair.
Yeah.
And he doesn't win. Like, he's kind of thrown to the side. There is no redeeming thing for him, right?
Yeah,
because we don't see, like,
and
at least give me, I don't know, it would have been kind of douchey, but give me him in a convertible driving off, and it's an Easter egg with a lady, and it's he got
with
nothing
the
out of
teacher.
it.
He's with Marissa Tomei. After the credits.
clutch
Come
move.
on.
Like, driving out.
Why didn't they do that?
But it totally does. Now that you mention that, it totally does feel like he gets comeuppance because he's not the protagonist.
right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I agree with that.
Yeah, he becomes just this idea that the characters in the movie get to hate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he just happened upon it. Yeah. And it was we could say he was less, we don't know his life. Sure. But we don't want to make it a movie about David Lindhagen,
Right.
but
That's the prequel.
he is less
Crazy, stupid
despicable.
Lindhagen.
I mean, if we're saying the fact that he slept with Emily is what makes him unlikable, is he less? Cal mentions 9 women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He cheated on his wife 9 times.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, I don't know.
Because I guess they're not divorced at that point.
No.
They're separated.
Yeah, it never happened.
Maybe they might have been. I don't really
I don't
know.
think it ever went. I don't think
it went into the minutia of
I mean,
that
I
kind
feel
of
like we
stuff.
would have seen the Santa
scene.
Claus, where it's like we give you no custody and you can only take him in the sleigh on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
In the court. So
Now,
making sure you knew that scene was in the court. Throw that in at the end.
from a judge,
From a
a
judge.
human judge, not an elf judge.
he judges. So
Judgmental judge.
I don't want to spend a lot of time personally on Marissa Tomei's scene other than to say she was hilarious.
Yeah. And that's fine.
She did a great job of giving off this kind of like unsettling, a little unhinged vibe right at the
Well,
beginning.
I think we're to interpret that Ben Parker has just died. And she's like rebounding
where's
hard
Peter
from
at
Uncle
this
Ben.
point is what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
MCU, baby.
See, there's a lot of more.
We're back.
What's going to be funny is you can make any connection because everyone in the world was in
Has
that
been in it or
Exactly.
might be in it.
So,
at some
might be in it
point.
one day.
which
yeah.
you could probably, three separations from this movie too, because everybody's in this.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to preemptively call my shot Steve Carell for Mr. Fantastic. Anyway.
game.
His nose is already elongated enough.
exactly.
Dude's got the biggest honker, and you know why? Founding member of the Goosepack. Where's my Goosepack at?
Dang it.
Sounds like you're dry heaving.
I know. I'm
You're about to
trying.
throw up.
Oh,
It's so good.
my goose thing again.
So I would like to talk about Jacob and Hannah.
yeah.
This moment, she finally leaves Josh Groban. He says, "You raise me up," and she says, "You sit on down."
Yeah.
And I've been sitting on that joke for a minute.
That was good.
Thank you so much.
Smelly.
Stank joke. And she
joke was
leaves,
chunky.
and she has this big larger than life stomp, dripping wet from the rain moment of Gosling smooch, and then says, "You want to get out of here?" And he goes, "You bet." And then comes what was honestly almost my super pump for the movie. It wasn't, but it's a huge pump for me, which is what this almost stereotypical love scene ends up turning into.
Yeah.
They go back home. What do you have? You're smiling as though you've got a joke locked and loaded.
No, I don't have a joke locked and loaded. That is my super pump.
Really?
My super pump is their all night long date where they just hang out, and for the first time, Jacob has a legitimate relationship connection with somebody besides Cal, I guess.
No, talk more. It's so good.
I just think it's awesome. I mean, again, like everything, like this movie is so laser targeted around its statement of theme.
Yes.
That, again, I've said it a million times already. Love is a friendship. Love is that like kind of deep relationship based on shared life experience, and love is intimacy and honesty.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they have all night. And it's so awesome.
Callie looked at me last night and she goes, "I really think the crux of the movie is when Jacob looks at Hannah and says, can you do me a favor? Would you ask me a personal question?"
Yeah.
And Callie said that to her, that is the turning point of the entire movie. That's where everything shifts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's when the movie goes, "Hey, we've been setting this up as if this is the thing to pursue." And like, That's not it.
Right. Well, and then they made their relationship the thing that was one of the most attractive things about the movie.
Yes.
Is to see them like that. And it was still hot. And it was like a sexy thing to just sit down and just talk about life.
Yeah.
And like, don't do the usual thing. And then just to throw fun at what's your move.
Yes.
He's like, "You're not ready for the move." You know, because he's already at this point to where it's like, "No, you're not messing this up." It's like, "I want it to be different."
Yeah,
before like ask me a personal question, it's like we don't even have to do that.
Sure.
And it works because he took his shirt off.
Well, they do it so well with the massage chair.
Do they live in a universe in which the movie Dirty Dancing exists, but the movie Footloose does not exist? Or does David Lindhagen all the time get told, "Man, you look just like the guy from Footloose"?
Probably that one. It's probably that one.
All right.
Just like, "You look just like Kevin Bacon."
Because how does Dirty Dancing exist and not Footloose? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah, because canonically, Dirty Dancing is the prequel to Footloose.
It is. Yeah.
Dirty Dancing is the story of how the town from Footloose became.
Yeah, they're like, that dancing.
Yeah.
That dancing is
Too
just
dirty.
too dirty.
That's some nasty dancing. We got to get out of here.
We gotta outlaw that stuff.
Why is he gyrating? What is this?
Too dirty.
Too fast, too dirty.
Too dancing, too dirty.
Jeez. But the moment in the house, it's not really even a moment. It's the entirety of the scene. And I'm going to chalk it up here to just pure chemistry.
Yeah.
Emma Stone, Ryan Gosling, she's saying I love the reveal of how nervous she is. And she's, "I'm not normally that confident. That's not really me. I'm very uncomfortable right now."
Right.
And he says like, "Hey, you're good to go."
I'm picking up on that.
I kind of got it, but you're good. Don't worry. And then when they kind of move things over to the bedroom, but then she goes, "Do you have one of those massage chairs?" And his whole, to me, it was brilliant. His whole, "No, yeah, I do. No, I don't. I definitely do. Who would buy one of those? I would. I bought one of those."
Yeah.
That whole thing. And then she goes out and then just, I hate it. And for me, that was like the tipping of this domino where all of a sudden I was team Hannah and Jacob until I
Team
died.
Hakem.
Yeah.
And I think that in this scene is what is set up is Cal kind of being left in the dust, not really knowing what to do, because this is around the same time that Cal and Emily are having their big fight about all the women that Cal has slept with and about Robbie's teacher. And Robbie is angry at his dad Robbie has this cool moment with his dad at the apartment complex when he says, I'm looking for some inspiration here, Dad. Like, please don't give up. And there's this moment in the middle. It's really like about 2/3 of the way through the movie where this happens. And it just kind of sets everything up to fall at the end.
Yeah.
In a really cool way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. And, back to that scene with Hannah and Jacob, it was so funny. It's a pump for me. It was almost the super pump of the one, this helped make it PG-13 outside of all the like innuendos and jokes and things like that. But like, and it's what everybody is thinking. She's like, "Just take your shirt off."
Yeah.
Just take it off. And then she looks at it for a while and just drops the bomb. Yeah. And I thought that I laughed out loud.
Yeah.
I thought that was so funny.
Yes. Absolutely.
But they do. And I'm finding a lot of this. He might just be the number one man crush right now, but I'm finding a lot of me just asking myself questions about like, so is he just doing a really good job of acting like Jacob, or is Ryan Gosling like this? And then also, is it like, is really, like I referenced to earlier, is it 50% ad lib that he's doing right now and just being Ryan Gosling? Or is he just really good at acting like he's embodied this character? Is he just being himself? And it has to feel that way.
I feel like he's himself because he's so similar to his character in La La Land in terms of like his just overall demeanor.
And I think he's a good actor. And a lot of people think he is just way too like stoic. But there is so much to be said about in Drive, which is one of my favorite movies. He hardly has any lines. Honestly, in Blade Runner 2049, hardly any lines, but there's something that he can do subtly.
Oh, yeah.
I wrote down, like, I would nominate his jaw muscles for an Academy Award because there's something
individually.
Like, wait, 2 ripples on the left cheek. Like, what does it mean? He's angry.
So his left eye is a little bit, I think, higher than his right eye.
No way.
Dude's face is mad asymmetrical.
And every time I look at it, I'm like, it just makes me love you more, dude. You just look more normal.
You're tricking everybody.
More. And here's the thing. I want to make a movie, and it's just a documentary. And the documentary is called Ryan Gosling Being Startled. Because my favorite thing in the world is anytime Ryan Gosling in a movie is surprised or startled or shocked, and he just gives like a or like a jump or a step back. His skill is looking as though he is taken aback by something.
Is that the sequel to Ryan Gosling refuses to eat his cereal?
Yes, exactly.
One of my favorite series.
So good. But it's the very next one right after that.
Good.
But I guess this kind of naturally takes us to, I really think we should just hit the backyard scene. Not the big backyard scene first. I think we should hit the nighttime address. Because Cal does his own yard work at the house that he's not supposed to live at anymore.
Right. Yeah.
And there is so much symbolism there, but those scenes to me are some of the most like heartbreaking in the movie.
Yeah, again, that fits in the same category as I've got to go shop for furniture now. It's like he's made his whole life about taking care of these people and making sure they have a nice place to live and that they're happy and comfortable. And he just cannot.
That yard is so symbolic.
He cannot exist without that kind of purpose driving him.
Yep. And just the brilliance of being able to see her.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know that while she's on the phone with him, he's really right there. And he is not taken aback. It's like, she's lying to me. He's like, oh my God, she still loves me. And I think that might've been the point when he really saw it.
I think it's when he got the confidence to do his big romantic grand gesture.
Absolutely. Because it's almost the next scene, right? I mean, it's basically one of the big things right now.
Because the very next thing is I think Jacob calling from the wine store. So it's like basically that.
He's calling him isn't he in Home Depot with his son and his daughter? What is going on with his daughter?
What do you mean?
She's like 6, maybe? How old is she in this movie?
I think she's supposed to be like 10.
How many 10-year-olds do you know that immediately, anytime a TV is on, they go dance in front of the TV along with the music video?
Yeah, it was not great.
That role, I think, so in my ideal version of this movie where Robbie and Jessica are both high school seniors, that role is played by a dog because because Molly has no reason to be in this movie at all. She does nothing, adds nothing, and
that's very true.
Literally all she does is watch TV or
say Nana.
I am not joking. The 3 things she does in this movie: watch TV, dance along to a music video, say Nana, and then ask if she can go watch TV.
Yeah, because she didn't really create a new dynamic or anything.
No.
And she also wasn't. There was enough humor in there. She was not any kind of like comic relief. Or anything.
Way. She literally was just like,
you actually don't even see her full face until the backyard scene at the end.
Yep.
She's obscured or in shadow in some way.
Okay.
Every other scene.
I do not understand that. That actress is named Joey King. She's in like a couple of other like.
She is the daughter from season 1 of Fargo.
Oh, she super is.
And she's great in that.
Yeah.
I think it was just she was young, probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
At that point, she
just
had
seems
to
like
have
a
been
weird
like
choice.
8 or 9.
Seems like a weird choice to be like, and I think that's what happens when you de-age, when you make Robbie younger than he needs to be.
I agree.
You have to have some other person in the house so that it's a believable family outside of the Hannah reveal.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Did you know Emma Stone is actually only 3 days older than the girl who played Jess?
Yes, which is crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
The look age-wise is insane.
Mm-hmm. And also, I've watched enough trash TV to know that the girl who plays Jess was on America's Next Top Model.
Wait, really?
And I recognized her because of that.
Really?
Can I just say that she kind of a little bit looks like the human version of Ducky from Land Before Time, and then super does past that.
She super does.
Yeah, she. That's all I can see the whole time. But I don't want to spend a lot of time on that.
She's got those Chris Pine lips.
But yeah, she definitely does. Can we please talk about the big backyard scene?
Yeah, it's time.
Can I say this?
Can we name our podcast The Big Backyard Scene after this episode?
This scene, the David Lindhagen showdown everything that happens here, this is unequivocally and without a doubt my super pump for this movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
There is no other option for Jordan.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is everything colliding. This is everything the movie has been building to.
Mm-hmm.
This is, for me at least, the first time I ever watched it, didn't see it coming.
No way.
No.
I was
Not at all.
shocked. And a twist that juicy
Yeah.
in a romantic comedy like this was shocking.
Yeah, that Nana reveal is good. And so this is actually only the second time that I've watched this movie. The Nana reveal really holds up. Like the movie doesn't suffer for it in the way that, like, you know, if there's, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but like a movie where there's a huge twist in the end and then you watch through and the character's actions don't make sense.
Right.
You know, outside of that
My
being
only
a big
thing
reveal.
is like, in what world did Jacob not look Cal up on Facebook and see a picture of her with him? That's my only thing.
Yeah.
But
can see
besides that, and just with some suspension of disbelief, which like whatever, this backyard scene is perfect.
Yeah. And
Every reaction.
They reward the rewatch too. That's
Yes.
hard to say because you can actually
Rewards the
see
rewatch.
there are a couple of scenes where we almost could have seen their relationship
Yes.
because she's at the mall and he's like walking by because he's about to meet at this pivotal moment where he's about to, you know, actually get taught by Jacob all this stuff.
There's a couple times at the bar too, I think, where they almost cross paths as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think
Which-
they were at a lot of the same places.
Well, and it's funny because it makes sense that Cal would choose that bar
Yep.
because he's probably heard his daughter talk.
Yeah,
maybe,
'cause
yeah.
he knows about it. From her.
And so anyway, this whole backyard thing, everything from so Jessica's dad's name is Bernie.
Yeah.
Bernie's tackle of Cal. He's so
Out of nowhere.
angry. He pulls the windmill off. Everything is this wonderful buildup where Jacob walks over and is just like, I'll break these guys up. Everybody's fighting.
Yep.
Emily's going, oh, he's cute. And it's like, yeah, we're with you, Emily. We get it.
Yeah.
But then the moment when David Lindhagen walks in the backyard and says, you left your scarf in my car, and Ryan Gosling delivers the most deadpan line in the movie where he goes, you're David Lindhagen? All right.
Yeah, that's
Takes his ring off and just decks this dude in the face.
and that's my super pump.
oh,
Yeah, that very moment. And I think too, it is just so funny because he's done it again to where he's given you Jacob and everything, even about him and Cal's relationship.
Yes.
And we've got just a little drop of, so he still obviously cares about everything that's happened.
Yes.
And this is not just the end of their relationship by any means. That's on his mind. He's a loyal dude.
Yeah.
And just taking the ring off was such a fun little thing. Like,
Yep.
I'm going to hurt
choosing
this
to
man,
punch this
but
person.
I could cut him if I leave my ring on. Like, why did he? It was
Yeah.
like it just added.
I
to
just wanna
the
punch, not
gravitas
really
of
hurt.
the punch in the face.
It's so good. I mean, he might as well have been like, so this is happening.
Yes,
Here it is.
Yeah, and I think the whole backyard scene was just a collective show of the skill of the cinematography of this movie, of
Yes.
of the writing, of everything, that the way it was just pieced together.
Oh, it was so
to
good.
where it didn't feel like a really old, like, huh, who, where, huh? You know, they did these things and they did give us a lot of people who are saying the same lines, but in the way that they're delivered, it's really funny. And I loved it so much.
It's so good.
I
man.
love in a similar vein, just when we're talking about these subtle things that really do elevate this movie to another level. We've got them sitting on the curb afterwards, and the cop comes up and says, which one of you is David Lindhagen? And all three of the other guys go, it's
Yeah, it's
Hagen. They point
Yeah,
at him. They
Hagen.
correct the pronunciation.
and it's so perfect that he's all the way on the right side, like the left side of the frame.
Yeah.
Like putting him in the middle would have been weird. But
It's
there's
just
just so
so
many little
good.
things that make it such good shots.
So in this interim time, we kind of have something cool, which is Jacob encouraging Hannah to contact her dad and kind of mend that relationship. Everything sort of breaks apart after this backyard fight. People go their own ways.
See, that's where this movie gets confusing to me.
Interesting.
Like
Okay.
it feels like the backyard fight is supposed to be the end of the movie. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that's why I think I feel like it's got to be a 4-act structure. I
Yeah.
mean, do we think that
With a very short fourth, you mean?
Yeah. Do we think that the backyard act is the end of Act 2? The backyard fight?
The backyard felt like the beginning of Act 3 to me.
That's just not traditionally. I mean, I guess it could be a weird 3-act structure, but Act 3 is when the like final lines of conflict are drawn, and you realize
Sure.
it's kind of, we've said on the show before, kind of the Death Star briefing.
But I
or
think
whatever,
it
you know
is.
what I mean?
So something that's interesting about this movie is that I think it subverts a lot of genre stereotypes.
Yeah.
And one of those genre stereotypes to me would be big fight happens, guy gets the girl in the end. But actually this big backyard fight is when everything gets even worse for Cal.
Yeah.
And ultimately what we find, and I'm actually really excited because we have a few minutes left and I want to spend a little bit of time at the very end talking about this. But to me, this was when we set up what the true conflict of the movie is, which is Cal versus himself.
Exactly. Yeah. That's so good.
That's why it feels like the beginning of the third act for me, because I feel like this was really the moment where Cal understood, okay, it's not Jacob's fault. It's not David Lindhagen's fault. Yeah. It's not Emily's fault. I need to apologize. I need to get better at this. And, other people have their things.
He already did that, though. He did that. Like, he came to that realization, and that's why the backyard scene even happened in the first place.
I think you're right, but I think up until that point, his motivations were wrong. I think he was still trying to win back his wife rather than make right for the hurt that he caused. And I'll explain why.
So maybe it's like a classic Pixar style 4-act with an external resolution in Act 3 and then internal resolution in Act 4.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because we go to this 8th grade graduation, which is such a wonderful place to end this movie, in my opinion.
I think it's
you
good.
get the traditional outside the airport terminal speech.
Yeah.
Except it's at an 8th grade graduation.
Yeah.
And we don't have to get into like dirty details of the scene, but something that this movie does that I don't know that I've seen another movie about this kind of subject matter do before is tackle the pain that the affair caused the people that weren't his wife. And specifically father to son. And he looks at his son, and in this moment he realizes that his selfishness with not fighting for the person that he loved was equated to not fighting for the family he loved.
Huh.
Yeah.
And so his children saw not fighting for mom as not fighting for us too.
Yeah, and you see it too. The very end of the backyard scene was just maybe the biggest gut punch when he says, "Go big or go home," right? It's still you and me. Yeah. And he's like, "No, Dad, go
just
home.
Go home."
Jeez. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And it's hard.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that the final kind of moments of this movie are so poignant, because I think they quell a lot of the like turmoil that we've been feeling this whole movie. And they go, I think for me, at least, I watched the end of this movie and because it's not fixed, but I think the movie ends and we go, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be okay.
I think that's what we're supposed to feel.
Yeah.
Small dump. The last shot of the movie is, I almost said Carl. What's his name?
Coral? Robbie.
Yeah. I almost said Carl. Yeah. The last shot of the movie's him. Like the movie ends with him and, Jessica.
Yeah.
Like, as they're like the last shot we see,
as
the
if
last
that was supposed to be like,
as if
it
that's
doesn't, yeah,
as if they're our protagonist pair.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, not at all.
Like how in what world are you editing this movie and go, I'm gonna pass up the opportunity to end with a shot of Cal looking at Jacob standing next to Hannah playing with our daughter who also could be a dog, and then cut back to a reaction shot
Molly's
of Cal.
A dog name too.
And then Molly is a great dog name.
Sorry, Joey.
But like cut there. That's your movie.
Well, but part of me feels like it was probably intentional with the idea, and I agree with you, but part of me does feel like a huge part of this movie is Cal wanting to do right by his son. And I feel like that was...
I feel like that's a huge part of Acts 3 and 4.
Yeah, but
I don't see a whole lot of that before then. Though.
You're right. And I think it's because it isn't revealed that it's an issue to his son until that point.
Yeah, it just feels messy to me. Yeah. Like their acts, like the beginning really up into the backyard scene is like 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
And then the kind of backyard scene through the end
feels like a messy cleanup.
Just a weird little like falling action,
I can see that
epilogue thing. I don't know.
It actually works for me. And probably because I'm very biased about this movie.
Yeah.
And I love this movie deeply within my soul, but it works for me.
Well, I feel like we're accidentally rating it right now.
Yeah, I feel like it's about time. There's no post-credit scenes here, so
aren't.
There's no
Samuel
implications
Jackson
for the
not
universe
we know of.
Sam Jackson does not ask anybody to join the Avengers.
That's true. So here at Two Chunks and a Hunk, we actually have a scientifically approved, formulated, and perfected rating system. Mm-hmm. Don't question it; it's trademarked. We're going to walk you through that right now, but it has a name, and it is the Scientific Cinema Scale, and it is as follows: the best thing that we could ever say about a movie is own it, don't lend it, buy that poster. The next best thing that we could ever say about a movie, buy it. Take your dollars, give them to a store for the movie. Mm-hmm. The next best thing that we could ever say about a movie is to rent it. Take less, but still some of your dollars. Give it to something for owning it for a little bit. The next best thing that we could say about a movie is stream it. If you're already giving some of your dollars to a streaming service and it's on there, go for it.
Stream it.
Otherwise, maybe not.
Maybe not.
And then the next best and second worst thing we could ever say about a movie is forget it.
Yeah.
You're better off if you just pretend this movie does not exist. And lastly, the worst thing that we could ever say about a movie. God hath forsaken us. So who wants to go first? I will. For me,
okay. Sorry, I'm late.
Is it rhetorical?
Yeah, it's my first time.
Who wants to go first? Me.
It's my first time.
It's me first. Guys, this movie for me is a buy it. This movie is...
I thought that's all you were going to say. Need to buy it.
It is so fun. It is hilarious. It is charming. It is also deeply touching. And I can't believe I forgot to mention the soundtrack to this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Rules.
From the very beginning.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is actually, I think, one of my favorite all-time movies.
Really?
I don't know if it's a top 10, but top 20, I think.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I'm going to say a buy it too.
Okay.
If it was maybe some more shirt off from Gosling to make it to go ahead and get the poster on the wall.
If the poster is him.
Honestly, can't say I didn't look up Gosling posters in general, but that's just another podcast.
That's its own thing.
Yeah, it's its own thing. But yeah, it's a buy it for me for sure, because I think it's just so brilliant in the writing and the acting. And I think a lot of it was summed up in the scene to where the rain's falling on Cal and he says, "This is so cliche."
Yeah.
They have identified what is cliche about rom-coms. They have still tricked us because they used it well.
Yeah.
Like they still did things that we see all the time, but they did it really well. And I it's a buy it for me. And it is something I own. And so it might be in the top 20 area for me too, top 20 or 30. So it's definitely way up there for the rom-com genre, because it feels more than that, doesn't it?
It does.
It feels like you're almost sliding it to call it a rom-com.
It feels so silly to even say this word, but they've become more popular recently. I'm actually very into it, but the kind of meta genre of dramedy, that's what this movie really feels like to me.
Yeah.
It's not quite joke after joke per minute to be a straight up comedy, but it's not overly sad. It's very charming and fun. It feels like a dramedy to me, and I think it sits very comfortably in that definition.
It's a good way to put it. Yeah.
I think I would have to give this movie a rent it.
Okay.
I think it is very good. And just a kind of a bit of background on me, this is, I think, technically the only rom-com I have ever seen.
This is good.
I'm just, I don't know what it is about me. I'm not really about that genre. Like it's just never really grabbed me. So maybe that's why I rate this lower than you guys. But
no, that's fine.
I think it's great. I enjoy it. I like it. I promise. Stop yelling. You're punching me. This is audio only, so people can't tell that you're punching me now.
Owie.
Stop.
Oof. Owie.
I took my ring off right before.
Nice.
I appreciate that.
It's Dojland Hagen.
Dojland Hagen.
Dojland Hagen.
Dojland Hagen. If you made ice cream, you could be Hagen Doge.
Dojland Hagen Das.
That'll work too.
I dig them both.
No, pick which one you like more.
I can't do that. I just want you to keep me around, so I'm going to like everything.
Nice.
And then and that's my pump too.
That's my pump. It's you guys. You guys are my pump.
It's on my pump.
I'm somewhere in between both of y'all's opinions, but to a point to where you both it's still like me.
Well, I'm sure this has been a very seamless edit into our podcast because we totally didn't forget to do this section of our show during our discussion. We do have some shout outs though. I want to give a huge, enormous, chunky thank you very much to Eric Rodriguez for sending in Avengers Infinity War pumps and dumps, and for Reed Towns for sending in an Avengers Infinity War related existential question. He asked, does Thanos see the universe as half full or half empty?
Oh, nice. If you want to help support the show, one of the best things that you could do is go onto iTunes and subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. That's one of the best ways that you could help Two Chunks and a Hunk gain traction, and we would super appreciate it. Another thing before we go, if you want a shout out on the show, make sure that you hashtag official chunky on social media, or you can send us pumps and dumps through our website, www.twochunksandahunk.com. So speaking of still liking things and liking people in general, sticking with our romantic theme, next week we're going to be bringing you an episode all about that sweet, sweet, sparky goodness, The Notebook. And oh man, am I dreading this one.
Never seen it.
Oh, Doge.
Never ever seen it.
I'm dreading it too, and I'm not going to get too much into the plot.
Yeah.
But I don't like to feel that way.
Yeah.
I don't like it because I am a baby.
Yeah.
Like I am gonna.
Is this gonna be a sad one for like I legit
Just watch
you
it.
really okay?
Just watch
no
it. Yeah,
idea
We're
what
not
this
going
is
to
about.
spoil. Hey, I can hear your gears turning. I'm talking to you who's listening to this podcast right now, thinking about spoiling this movie for Doge as a joke. Don't do it.
I'm gonna tell you what I think this movie is.
Yeah,
this is good.
I think it is people, and I've seen the trailer. So
I think it's people.
I think it is people played by Ryan Gosling, and there's a woman in it too.
There is,
and they
at least one.
are at the World's Fair in 1920.
Okay,
and they write each other letters in a notebook, and then they grow apart. And then later, like maybe the 50s or something, they find the notebook, and then they have to reconnect with their mate from the World's Fair in the 20s. But it's now the 50s, and they've got to go on a cross-country road trip to find the person that they shared a notebook with.
Bill and Ted's Notebook Adventure.
It's amazing.
Am I anywhere close?
No. It's you know how it's like Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone? Like there's just a different name for it, different places. This is England's version of Pagemaster.
Which is actually Texas's version of Beastmaster.
Yeah.
So we're going to be watching Beastmaster now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for Beastmaster.
No, it's the Notebook.
Beastmaster's handbook of notes. The handbook full of notes.
It's Norculus Sporks the Nortbork.
Written by Dr. Seuss.
Nicholas Spax the Natback.
Well, we'll be coming at you talking about that Natback next week. Until next time, until Notebook time, I'm Jordan Wonders.
I'm Doge.
And I'm Guest Carter.
This has been 2 Chunks
And
1 Hunk. One
Hunk. What?
Bye.